Hogan Gidley, National Press Secretary for the Trump 2020 campaign, and I am joined this morning by the talented, the beautiful, the brilliant Mercedes Schlapp, Senior Advisor for Strategic Communications. Mercy, welcome.
It's great to be here, Hogan, with you. I mean, we're ready to go. I mean, early voting has started 10 days down. We're going to win this election, right, Hogan?
Of course we're going to win, but I can't believe it's down to 10 days. We started out in the White House, we came to the campaign, and it just 10 days.
And it looks like we only are looking younger, right? I mean, come on,
That's how
seriously.
I feel. That's how I feel. I'm definitely not tired. I'm definitely not angry at the press. I'm very happy. I'm wide-eyed, I think we're going to do really well. The country's excited.
Yeah.
The people are excited. They're enthusiastic about this president. And it looks like we're in a really good spot.
But this morning, we are coming to you live from our campaign headquarters. And just moments from now, we will be joining President Trump as he casts his early vote in the great state of Florida.
I don't want to break news, but I'm pretty sure I know who he's going to vote for. I'm going to wait and let him say it to the press. But I think he wants the 4 more years of peace and prosperity. I think he likes working for the American people and not letting the establishment and the elites control the universe. I think he likes giving power back to the people. So I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say I think he's going to vote for Donald Trump, I think.
And he's going to vote Republican all the way down the ticket.
Of course.
We got to send Nancy Pelosi back home.
Packing.
She's got to go to her hair salon. She's got to be out in San Francisco. We got to make sure we keep the Senate and vote Republican down ballot.
Those rolling blackouts out in California probably wreak havoc with that $20,000 refrigerator. She may have a generator in her house, I'm not sure, but it's problematic.
Yeah.
When the power keeps going out because they run power out there on gumdrops and unicorn hair, and it's very difficult to keep your state running. And those big refrigerators need a lot of power. Yeah. So we understand she needs to go home, take care of it.
And we've got you talking about bringing you live footage as President Trump heads into his polling site. And then we're going to hear directly from the president himself, which is going to be, as we know,
always good.
It's always going to be good. But we'll also be discussing the importance of voting in this historic election and what's at stake. And let me tell you, all you viewers out there, you all need to vote and vote early. The lines are long, but don't get discouraged. It is making sure that your voice is heard in this critical election. And the choice in this election has never been clearer, and the stakes have never been higher.
You're absolutely right, Mercy. And either Joe Biden or President Trump will be tasked with overseeing the economic recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. And we know that only one of these men has the proven record on economic recovery. President Trump built the greatest economy in the history of the world once before, and he's already doing it again. We're on a V-shaped recovery. In the last 5 months alone, we've added back 11.4 million jobs, more than half of all the jobs lost in the pandemic. Now, there's still a long ways to go, but President Trump can do it because under his leadership, we are witnessing the fastest labor market recovery from an economic crisis in American history. On the other hand, Joe Biden resided over the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression.
Well, let's say lockdown Joe, right?
Lockdown Joe,
I mean,
absolutely.
We got to talk about the fact that when we were watching this debate, I want to definitely get your impressions of what you thought about the debate.
I don't do a good Joe Biden impression.
Come on. No, not of him.
I'm kidding.
Of the actual debate.
I got it. No, look, I think it was very important for many reasons. Obviously, the president showing he understands the issues facing this country. He's the only one who has a record of passing policies that have improved people's lives, regardless of race, religion, color, or creed. He has the record of success that just Joe Biden doesn't have. 47 years in office. He's an insider. He has a half century's worth of failure in elected office. And so I think that the position of the president was laid out pretty clearly. But for Joe to say he wanted to lock the country down again, that he was going to get rid of the energy industry, 10.5 million jobs, and admit that openly. And by the way, a little thing he slid in there, I think no one noticed. He didn't say in 50 years or 100 years. He said in 5 years, he was going to get rid of all fossil fuels. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think that was a very telling moment in the during the debate, which was when he made that statement attacking the oil industry,
Incredible.
which the president was like, this is a big statement. This
Yes.
is a big statement. And it was so true because he finally unraveled what the plan is, which is for Joe Biden, this is about taking the most radical steps to destroy our energy industry, to destroy energy independence, which the president has achieved. And when you're looking at the fact that he finally admitted what their final plan is, which is abolishing fossil fuels that would destroy jobs, that would destroy state economies.
Yeah.
I think it was a very clear contrast between what we're seeing with Joe Biden really, I think marrying himself off to the far left of the party, like AOC, like Bernie Sanders, and going after an industry that has provided so much opportunity, so much wealth into our economy, so many investments into our economy. Even the oil industry themselves are ones that focus on how they can balance economic growth with taking care of our environment. So I thought it was a very big moment in the debate.
And when the president unleashed the energy industry, we became a net exporter of energy for the first time in decades. I mean, in decades. Now, look, that means more than just having cheaper prices when you put fuel in your car or a lower bill when you're heating or cooling your home. It's a national security threat to rely on the whims of China and the Middle East and Russia on energy production. And Joe Biden wants to take us back to the state of play where we're having to rely on other nations for our energy. It's absolute insanity. And I think the American people finally got to see these two men side by side in their vision for the country. And I love the fact the president basically prevented Joe Biden from pointing backwards to 47 years because there was no positive thing he ever did for the American people. Everything he did do crushed the American worker, killed our jobs, but he couldn't point forward because, like you said, with the energy industry, it's all Green New Deal socialist agenda, open borders and making us pay for illegal immigrants free health care. I mean, the whole thing is radical, to say the least. And I think the American people got to see
and ladies and gentlemen and great patriots, this is important, is understanding these policy differences. So if you've got your friends out there who might still be on the fence, and as we know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of those people left, go talk to them.
Yeah.
Go talk to them about the policies and explain why, have them watch the debate with you. I mean, we just had this experience where a friend of mine literally sent me a text and said, I knew I was going to vote for Donald Trump. My wife was an undecided voter. She watched the debate and she is voting for Donald Trump. What did you see? A contrast between the president being presidential, obviously a results-oriented president. Contrast that with Joe Biden, who was looking at his watch. I don't know if it was an Apple Watch because maybe it had the answers on the Apple Watch. Maybe. What do you think, Hogan?
I don't know. I think he was looking at it because his time was up. I think that's what
it's time to retire, people. Right. Time to retire.
Way past time.
One other interesting point in the debate, which I thought was the on the COVID response, which I know that the media spends so much time fear-mongering everybody. The liberal media is obviously very critical of the president. They've basically blamed the president for COVID, which is absolutely outrageous, even using that up as a political strategy. And the president said, we got to reopen our economy safely, reopen our schools safely and responsibly. And he looked at Joe Biden and says, because you just want to lock down, because you're going to lock down and you're going to lock down in the basement. And I thought that was a very telling moment as well in the debate. What were your thoughts on that?
It's absolutely true. And what was funny was Joe Biden tried to have it both ways many times in the debate. And that was another one where he said, no, I'm not going to lock it down. I'm going to lock the virus down. And then a sentence later, when he was asked by Kristen Welker, the moderator, would you lock down the country again? He said, yeah, I'd lock it down again. We cannot afford that. The economy, the people who have sunk everything they owned into starting up a business, for example, have been ruined by these lockdowns. Now, I understand it was a difficult decision. The president had to do it. But in addition to the economic impact, we're seeing long-lasting health impacts because of this shutdown. And for Joe Biden to say he would do it again, I talked to some friends last night anecdotally, and they were saying their children just suffered. They were struggling so much with this shutdown and the fallout we see now from health experts and medical experts who tell us that it disproportionately affects those in underserved areas because of the higher rates now of abuse, both physical and mental. Schools aren't open, so you're missing nutritional meals. Forget the actual education aspect of it, where the kids aren't learning anything for the last year. But also we're seeing higher suicide rates, and we're seeing depression, anxiety. People aren't going in for their cancer screenings, things like that. So it's clearly something that the president's on the right side of. The American people are with him.
Well, I'm hearing, and we're getting close to the president showing up to the polling location, which we're looking forward to that. So keep staying with us. We'll see him shortly. In the meantime, I think one of the other components that we're seeing, I think, especially when it comes to the president's strong response on COVID with Operation Warp Speed, tell your friends about the fact that the president's working to develop this vaccine, get the therapeutics to market. This man is working day in and day out so that we defeat the virus, that we are not scared of this virus. We're not going to let the virus dominate our lives. Contrast that with the Joe Biden, weak approach, which quite frankly, he's plagiarizing the president's plan. He's like, we need more testing. And you're like, wait a second, we're leading the world in testing. What's going on? The president announced 150 million rapid tests that were sent throughout the country, many of them going to schools, many of them going to nursing homes. We want to protect our seniors. That's a priority. But I do want to say that to wrap up on the debate, the president reminded voters why they voted for him in the first place.
Sure did.
He is the outside leader. He is not this insider, corrupt politician like Joe Biden is. So let's talk about Joe Biden and corruption.
Where do we start? There's so much. It's 47 years to unpack there. But what we now know without a doubt is someone going on the record saying that Joe Biden was part of these massive deals that his family got. And so when Joe Biden was given the responsibility by the previous administration to deal with two countries, Ukraine and China, well, what do you know? It was those two countries who gave millions and millions of dollars to the Biden family. We now know Joe Biden saying that he knew nothing about these deals was a complete and total lie, because someone who was part of the deals came out publicly and said, Joe Biden was in these meetings. We had to get sign off from the big guy. That's Joe Biden. And for the media not to cover this and to pretend as though it's fake is insane. They hauled up the Trump kids to Congress over no evidence whatsoever as it related to a Russia witch hunt hoax that was totally fake and made up now, we know, by the Clinton campaign. And they're not even asking the question. And I understand people watching this really do want to know what flavor milkshake Joe Biden is into. Now, even he couldn't answer that right. Chocolate and vanilla, it's clearly chocolate. Don't even, he's just completely wrong on that. But it just shows a level and a pattern of being kind of inside that elitist mentality of we're going to use our taxpayer dollars to profiteer for our family. You know, he did learn from the best, though. Very close with the Clintons. And if anyone knows about corruption, it's Bill and Hillary Clinton. And so I'm sure they probably gave him a few pointers of here's how you use the system to get rich.
And I think where we have been outraged is the censorship coming from the big social media companies, from the liberal media as well. I mean, they have just adopted the talking points of the Democrat National Committee. They refuse to cover these issues, and they refuse to cover the New York Post story. Let's remember, New York Post has been around forever. It's one of the oldest publications. They have sources. They ended up suspending their account. They ended up suspending our Trump campaign account. And they're not allowing for this conversation to occur and let the American people decide.
You're absolutely right. Look, there's so much at stake with this election. And that's why today we are launching Trump the Vote to mobilize our MAGA universe and to make our voices heard for 4 more years of President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. And let's check in on the president now, who's on his way to vote. I think we're going to the Palm Beach County Library in West Palm Beach, where the president is arriving in the motorcade and going to vote.
Hold them inside the car, please. Yes, sir. Catering for Hillary, we arrived. You good?
Yeah. Hello. John, whenever you're ready.
County, I'm pleased that you're here. Hope that you have a wonderful voting experience here.
Thank you, we will. That's good.
Okay. Make way.
Bring him in, Danny. Clear to bring in the press, Tisa. Or I could just come over here and tell you that too.
He said ring pulling, ring pulling, ring pulling.
All right.
This is gonna go quick. Hurry up.
Where's she gonna be? She's gonna come through these doors.
You're fine. Yeah, you're totally fine.
Your camera? Gotta back up, you're blocking the camera.
Left. A little bit more, thank you.
Thank you.
In that light, a little bit more. Thank you so much.
Back, everybody. We are live here at the campaign headquarters. The president is voting right now.
This is why we love America, right? This is why we go out there and make our choice and vote. And I know that a lot of people are watching us. I know Pam Bondi, one of our dear friends, is down in Florida, and these rallies are taking this live stream. It's so exciting. And I got to say something. Every time I go to Florida, I'm very biased because it's my home state. The energy down there is remarkable. I mean, we just saw the president in Pensacola. There was over like 20% of people who didn't vote in 2016.
Yeah.
They're going to vote in 2020. And I tell you, they are voting for Donald Trump.
That's right. And massive numbers of Democrats come out to our rallies too to hear the president because they appreciate the fact that you have a politician for the first time in decades who made promises and then actually kept promises.
That's right.
Who knew
That's
that
right.
would be such a novelty? But it is, and it's improved people's lives, and that's what's so exciting. But I have to mention Pam Bondi because she is my boat parade.
I'm jealous.
Friend.
I can't. She's my bus tour friend. Okay.
Well,
For Women
that's
for
fair.
Trump
Then we
bus
both
tour.
get Pam Bondi.
Okay, there you go.
Pam Bondi. That's
Pam
fine.
Bondi, our great former AG from Florida. And she's been such a great surrogate, as we have so many surrogates on the road across the country. I mean, it has been nonstop. You're talking about the fact that the president has multiple rallies today. He's also going to be in New Hampshire tomorrow. And in all these targeted states, there's something that we share in common. Not only is it love of this president, it is love of this country and how we're going to save America and make sure that America, we don't turn it over to these socialists who are looking to destroy our country. But let's talk about these boat parades. It's really amazing. These events like the caravans and the boat parades that my friends are going to as well, they'll send me pictures. It's organic, people.
Right.
It is amazing what we see. What is your experience out there?
Everyone knows without a doubt, you win votes on boats. That is my new slogan and theme. I think we should do boat parades every day of the week and have, consistency that Monday through Friday, You and I,
You just
Pam
like,
Bondi,
right.
out on boats all the time supporting the president. And by the way, these people are so excited and so enthusiastic about the president. I thought, because you and I worked in the White House and now you and I are on this great campaign together, I thought we supported the president. We don't. These people have a level of support. I mean, the big, massive tattoos of Donald Trump's face on people's bodies, on people's legs. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And they all say the same thing, that they had been forgotten by politicians like Joe Biden for decades. And this president came in and said, I'm going to do these things for you. And then he did them. And they all appreciate that.
And what I find, two things. One is people had never been in politics before. And I'll take my sister as an example. I mean, she's had to deal with me in politics for a very long time. They are so engaged. They want to help. They're like, what do we need to do to volunteer? And I just want to say, for all of you people out there that have been volunteering for this president, part of Army for Trump, it has been critical. We can't do this without you. You are all the heart and soul of this campaign. You're the reason why we're going to get the president to the finish line. But let me tell you something. We have to get out and vote early. Don't wait till the last day. Vote in person. Get out there early. That's the critical component. We can do all that we can to help the president. We've made over 150 million voter contacts. That's more than we've ever made since the last cycle, since 2016. And I got to tell you, I was just in New Hampshire yesterday, which is just beautiful. And they were telling me that the Biden people, Joe Biden hasn't shown up. He hasn't shown up in the state. It's like a virtual campaign. It's a teleprompter president. This is not what America deserves. And it's why we got to stay energized to the very end. I know you all might be a little tired. I get it. The shop kids are getting tired too. They're not seeing their parents much these days. But it's because we're committed to getting this president to the finish line and getting him elected and having vote margins so big, so wide that these Democrats can't come over and try to shut us down.
We've got the best candidate. He's got the best message.
Yes.
He's got the best record. And Lord knows he's got the best work ethic. I mean, the man goes to more towns and cities and states in a week than Joe Biden goes to in a year.
Well, I mean, he's calling a lid. Joe Biden's calling a lid at 9 a.m. Well, you've got last night, I think Dan Scavino, the great Dan Scavino, who's with the president all the time, said the president called a lid at 11 o'clock at night. It is remarkable. He will outwork anyone to make sure that people understand his message of hope, his message of opportunity for all Americans.
And you just talked about the campaign apparatus. I found this stat out yesterday. We did 10 million phone calls last week. Do you know how many we made in the entire 2016 cycle?
How many?
10 million.
Oh, wow.
We made more calls in a week than we did the entire campaign. This Trump army across this country is massive. We have 10, 20, 30 people living in these states and have been there for the last 3 years, building these coalitions on the ground, making sure people go out and vote. And the enthusiasm we talked about before, in a lot of these states, we've now seen the space between Republican and Democrat people registered to vote shrink dramatically, where Republicans are outpacing Democrats in registration. People want to get out there and vote for 4 more years of peace and prosperity, safety and security, law and order. These are things that really drive people to the polls. And look, the media, we get it. They don't like Joe Biden. They just hate Donald Trump.
Oh, I don't know. I think they're having a love affair with Joe Biden. That's
that's
just me.
clear, but that's because they get to control Joe Biden.
Right. But their hatred towards Donald Trump is clear. That fake news, which is trying to control the messaging, trying to tell you that this race is over, trying to say negative things about this president day in and day out. That's the apparatus we need to fight. We need to fight against the fake news. We need to fight against these bullies from the left who are continuously trying to destroy us. And our goal is not to stay silent. We need to be bold. We need to stand strong, and we need to make sure, and I know we talk about the silent majority. I'm saying no silent majority anymore. We're going to be the loud majority. We're going to go out there and show our great support to President Trump. And that's one of the differences I'm seeing on the road, which is people are no longer shy to say, I'm going to support this president. We used to have this phenomenon called the Trump whisperer, which still exists, where they tell you, I'm going to vote for the president.
Right.
Now it's loud, it's clear. They've got their flags, they're in their boats, they're in their cars. I mean, Joe Biden, it's lucky if he even has a golf cart as part of his caravan. So, but it really does make a difference with all the great work that you all are doing on the ground here. And of course, Our message today to all of you, vote
Vote.
early, vote now, get excited, spend some time, take your friends with
Get
you,
your
take
family
your
out.
family with you,
Yeah.
take your kids with you. This is always a great moment to teach about how America really truly is the greatest country in the world, where we have this opportunity to make our voices heard.
You're right. And that's something I think if we could go back for a moment, remember the conventions? We talked about this right afterwards. Democrats talked about how this country's evil and we're like the cause of all the world's problems. That's just a lie. They used Hollywood to talk about America. We used the heartland.
That's
We
right.
used real people who've been affected by the president's policies, who said he made our lives better. And we got opportunities in this country we could have never received anywhere else on the planet, because this country is still a beacon of hope and freedom and strength and mercy all over the world. And when I'm on these boat parades,
I like
for example,
mercy.
mercy is
I
good.
really
That's
like
true.
mercy.
The boat parades, I talked to the people from
Yeah.
Cuba, some of the singers on the boat, and they pulled me aside and like, we're terrified. And I
Yeah.
said, what are you scared of? They said, the rhetoric we're hearing from the left is the same thing we heard in Cuba. We were terrified from Castro. People we knew were killed by that regime. And we're hearing the same type of message from the Democrats. They want to remake this country into that socialist image. Look, your jobs aren't safe with Joe Biden. Your families aren't safe with Joe Biden, but your American way of life isn't safe with Joe Biden.
Let's remember that Joe Biden is the one that said, I can't believe he tweeted this out. Like, what are his staffers doing? Because you got to wonder, right?
That's that
America is an idea and we don't live up to it. We don't live up to it. I am so sorry. This country is made of the greatest people in the world. And it's an absolutely remarkable place to be. It's why this president understands and stands for all of us and is fighting for all of us every day.
Absolutely right. And it looks like the president just cast his vote. And I don't think he spoke to the press. I think he just kept going, which is always interesting to see. You know, the press always wait for him and they're just kind of on pins and needles. Is he going to talk? Is he going to talk? But let's go back now and see what the president's up to.
I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna stop once he's in the frame. That makes sense. You're not gonna move. So I'm gonna stay here until he gets into the framing that I like, and then I'm gonna start moving. And then once he stops, I'm gonna stop.
Yes, because it's going to stop kind of where you are.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we'll be well out of their shot back there.
Thank you very much. Any complications in there? No, not much. It was a very secure. Thank you very much. Any complications in there? No, not much. It was a very secure vote. Much more secure than when you send in a ballot, I can tell you that. Everything was perfect, very strict, right by the rules. When you send in your ballot, could never be like that. It could never be secure like that. They've done a fantastic job over here. Great people inside. So, but it's an honor to be voting. It's an honor to be in this great area, which I know so well. And we're going to make 3 stops today, big ones, big rallies, 3 big ones. Crowds have never been, I don't think there's ever been anything like this. There's tremendous spirit. I hear we're doing very well in Florida, and we're doing very well, I hear, every place else. So thank you very much, and you're going to be very busy today because we're going to work you hard.
Mr. President, who did you vote for today?
I voted for a guy named Trump. Thank you very much.
We just watched President Trump cast his ballot live from Florida, a true display of democracy. Hogan, give me your reaction to this historic moment.
It's always one of those things that is so unique to this country, to watch people get out there and exercise freedom, their thoughts on where they want the future of this country to be. And elections are about choices. And what you have is someone in Donald Trump who's provided record-setting success in record-setting time for all Americans. And then Joe Biden, who's had 47 years of failure. The president was right in the first debate when he said, I've done more for the American people in 47 months than you, Joe Biden, have done in 47 years. And it's important for the president to take the lead and say, I'm going to get out there and vote. This is how to do it. Watch me. And he's a great example for the American people of how to get out and further this great democracy. Get out there and vote. Get your friends and your family, as you mentioned, to get out there. This is the most consequential election of my lifetime, most certainly. And it's just one of those powerful moments. I always love watching people, exercise democracy, and the president did that today.
It is. It's truly remarkable. And to my Spanish-speaking friends out there, vota temprano. Hay que votar para el presidente Trump. Vote early. It is so critical to get out. This is the moment that we need to get him over the finish line. I'll tell you, as a daughter of immigrants, I just am so proud to be an American, to live in this great country, and to know that we have President Trump on our side every single day, fighting for our families, fighting for our workers, standing up against the bullies in America. We need to save this country. This is a moment in time that we can make a difference. And it's going to take each and every one of you out there to go vote and go bring friends with you, your family with you, your church going members with you, to make a difference for this president. I don't want to see this close like thing in election night. I want to be done at 10 p.m. and put Joe Biden to bed early.
Say the thing you said again in Spanish. I love when you do that.
Vota temprano. Hay que
That's so
votar
good.
temprano. Esta decisión es sumamente importante para estas elecciones. Vota republicano, vota por Donald Trump. And I would go into
What
my
she
salsa
said.
dancing, but I'm not going to do that live here on TV right now.
I don't know why. Look, you got to do everything you can to get votes. That's going to win us a lot of votes. There's no question about it. You know what else wins votes? Boats.
There you go.
Boat parades, everybody.
Let's go.
You want
Come
me and
on.
Pam coming to a waterway near you? You just text vote to 88022. We'll be there. Folks, this is a great day for the country. It's a great day for the future. We've had 4 years of peace and prosperity. We can have 4 more if you get out there and vote. Thanks for joining us today. God bless, and go vote.